bridge collapsed. The mountain road washed out. All the signs are obscured by fog. Your only directions are detours. Eventually it dawns on you. Sometimes you need to get lost to discover where you're supposed to be. Welcome to Merlin's Barn.
Hello, and welcome to Merlin's Barn, broadcasting to you, as always, from Fort Blanket, south of the Yukon. Tonight you have myself, Merlin, of course.
Sleepy Time Tea.
Sleepy Time Tea, who's very quiet.
Nicole.
And Matt.
Okay, and what we're going to do is you all, some people may be excited because there's probably only 2 episodes left of the Alaska Rust. Some people may be sad because they want more of that. But if you're sad, you want more of that, send us money and I can go do another 28-day drive. I will very happily do that. Currently do not have the budget for it whatsoever. So before diving into that, what's our excitement in the past week? We worked over at Timmy's. We're in his truck. You cut a truck bed into pieces. I've heard something about wire fishing.
Yeah, we're wiring up the house.
Yeah.
Pulling wires today.
Yep, working on the house.
I had 8th graders nonstop every period today, double classes. And we had the author Adam Gidwitz in for a talk with our 8th graders. And folks, if you haven't heard of him, he does the Tale Dark and Grim series, which are a really just fun, disturbing take on the Grim fairy tales. And he did some World War II books like Max and the House of Spies. You got anything to add, Tasha? On the
I've dealt with...
Tube Cat.
There is Tube Cat happening, dear Lord the Zoomies. I think the most pressing thing in my week was a room...
They're everywhere.
The cats? Yeah, they are. They live here, honey. They live here.
I know, but they're not normally all over us like this.
The cats are being peak cat right now.
Oh my God.
They're very cat pot.
Yeah.
What I did, I had a room full of small children who were supposed to be napping, who none of them, I had maybe 3 the other day, that would sleep. And you know what I wanted to do? I just wanted to make a dentist appointment.
I thought you wanted to nap too. I thought that's where that was going.
The ultimate goal.
Let's get them all to nap so you too can nap.
If only.
Napping, children. Group napping. You don't understand how important this is.
Do the nap
Napping.
thing. Adults want naps. Adults are sad that we don't have nap time anymore.
Do you want to watch me nap, kiddos? Because I will gladly curl up in the corner and you all can run around like havoc and I will get some sleep.
So you don't want to nap now, but in 20 years you will want to.
I'll wander,
Just wait. Just wait till you're older children.
I wander around the building around to like 11:30 in the morning when I see teachers. I'm just like, nap time? Nap time? We want our little cots and our oh shoot, what were the crackers?
The
Animal
animal
crackers.
crackers or the...
Actually, like
You know, the
animal
little
crackers.
circus like the Barnum's ones or something?
Oh, I love those. I miss those so much. And the little, do they still make them in the little boxes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little box shaped like the...
Animal crackers are a thing. You can even get them in, you get them
I don't want a bag. I just
frosting coated.
want the... I want
Those
the...
are
I
They
want
get
the...
coated.
Especially the Halloween ones where they got the bats.
Oh.
I
There's
want...
also a magical pack that has unicorns.
I just want the normal
They call them
ones
unicorns. I'm not sure what those things
in the
are.
in the
And I'm not
circus
sure if the
box.
rhinoceros or lion.
But
I
they
don't know
taste
which
delicious.
is which.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But they taste good.
Miss them. Graham crackers. That's what I was thinking of.
Graham
Graham
Oh,
crackers.
those are fine choice too.
Yes, especially the ones with the cinnamon and the sugar on them.
Yes.
Oh my
the one that I
God.
told the children is like if sandpaper were delicious and an okay texture on my teeth.
It is when it's cinnamon and sugar coated graham cracker.
Yes, it visually
This is
looks
true.
like.
What was it? There was that Canadian comedian likening. What was the cereal? Was it Captain Crunch or something? That was he was
All
likening
Crunch
to
Berries one or something?
that he was
Oops,
likening to like
berries.
eating fiberglass insulation. It's so good, but I'm going to keep eating it. So
So I'll cap off the week. I'll cap off the week of weirdness, and then we can dive into Alaska with moments before we started recording. I received a tech support phone call from a friend who works at a Navy base in Guam.
Guam.
I was wondering if I heard that correctly.
Yes.
Guam.
So, the complete opposite end of America from here.
Oh my Lord.
Just
When was the last time
about.
you were in Guam?
I've not been to Guam.
You've never been to
Really?
Guam? I just figured you'd been to Guam at this point. How big is Guam? Is that just like a little island or something, or
It's
an
not a very,
atoll?
yeah, it's an island. I think it's a relatively decent size. There's a couple of golf courses on it.
Oh, okay, cool. We've got 2 golf courses, half a McDonald's, one mermaid. Yes.
As of this past week, the atoll just reminded me. This past week was the 40th anniversary of Chernobyl.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we
Oh,
did have
Yes, I did wish some folks a happy Chernobyl. That's just where we're at, you know?
that. I just liked when I put up the Happy Chernobyl Day on Facebook.
Oh, you
And
did that? You did?
yeah, I did that.
I didn't know
And I
you
put
did
up a photograph of, put up a Happy Chernobyl Day meme and then a beautiful photograph of the Ferris wheel in Pripyat. Put up Happy Chernobyl Day. And Eric Wilson's response was, I hope there's no fallout from my glowing review. And I did not see a better response to top that. So, Eric, a tip of the hat for you. And
You win.
Look, that joke's got a really short half-life, though, honestly. It's gonna decay on us.
okay, that hurt.
I can play it back.
There was so much pain. There was so much pain. All right. So, jumping in, we're going to actually make it to Alaska.
Yay!
Alaska?
Yeah,
On the
that's-
Alaska trip?
On the Alaska rest trip, we are actually
Wow.
going to visit Alaska and be there for a period of time. So, Alaska Rust, what is this? This will be like episode 7, I think, or something like that. When you have the first couple of just getting on the road, and then getting on the road, and then getting rejected by Canada and sent back into Canada, and then yeah, back and forth. I think my favorite part was of the highway was the Yukon, honestly. So I think the last episode had us at Sheep Mountain. Yeah, it was the mountain with all the sheep on it. It was literally called Sheep Mountain.
Hold up, you did not say it was called Sheep Mountain last week.
I forgot to. It is called Sheep
Do you
Mountain.
know how wonderful the name Sheep Mountain
It
is?
sounds like it should be a movie.
Exactly. It's majestic, it's beautiful, it's fluffy.
It's the opposite of Destruction Bay.
Yeah,
It
it is.
really
It
is.
is.
I want to go to Sheep Mountain.
I do too, because I liked it there. I keep looking at as I'm going over my notes for this and keep looking at the book, which, by the way, the book is still for sale. It's expensive, but I make virtually no money off of it. I think after several years of it being for sale, I got a $5 check. Why is it priced like that? So that you all can afford to buy it and look at it and enjoy the couple hundred color photographs in it of the trip and the journey and the backgrounds of all the people who went on it. So I'll, again, with this episode, there will be a link to where you can get the book from. And I haven't even checked to see if it's sold recently, so largely because I make no money off of it. You get the wonderful hardcover, which is, I think, like 40-something, like $40-ish, and then I think the paperback's like $25, and their shipping is horrible. But it's worth it. So,
What a glowing review.
yeah. Well, it has really good reviews. It's just stupidly expensive because it's self-published because,
What else are we gonna do?
yeah, I mean, I wanted to get it out quickly to the gang. So I think, what was it? We did the trip in 2017. I don't think I've talked about it. I went and sent out, we got back and we had amazing photographers and there was a lot of stuff online. And I was like, all of this is going to disappear into the social media void within 2 years if we don't do something with this. And so I had everybody send me jump drives and everything with their largest files of photos. And then I sent out a questionnaire. And then I had people send me their favorite stories. And so the book is a combination of everybody's photos, cartoons that were done by the trip, and I've just forgotten the artist, and I'll make a note about the artist's name in the post that goes with this. And then all the stories and stuff. And it's a fun read. I just stare at it at this point to remind myself what I'm talking about now. and to sit there and go, I just want to go back. So send money. Yes? No. In a vehicle that'll make it. I think the Jeep would make it now. So we were at Sheep Mountain, which is south of Destruction Bay and Burwash Landing. And that was sort of our
Overwatch
last.
is kind of badass sounding. It's
Yeah,
a
it's
little
everything up there was
edgy.
sort of badass and post-apocalyptic.
Gosh.
Yeah, it was. It sort of has this, like where we were at Sheep Mountain, there had been some sort of shift and a whole section of the lake had dried. So there was dried lake bed
Wow.
that the guys went and took their launchers out. And I don't know if I put it up on the last post. If I didn't, I'll put it up with this one. But it's a photograph of all the guys just hanging out on the lake bed on their lawn chairs on the parched bake bed there. And so we headed out from Sheep Mountain, and we head up. We're heading up the lake, and basically this was when everything for a period of time just went to hell in a handbasket. I think in one of the earlier episodes, I talked about the pilot vehicles and what would happen when the highway would get to where they were doing highway repairs.
Oh yes, yep.
Yeah.
Miles long sections of road that were closed. And
Yeah, and so you have to sit there in a line and wait for a pilot vehicle to come and get your little convoy and then guide you through the road repairs. We ran into 3 different sections of road repairs where the frost heaves up in this area had been so bad that they had pulled full. They were digging deep to get the fill and everything out of the road to redo it, to put a new fill with hopes that it would not heave the road as badly as this had been.
Oh, wow.
So for the longest time on this trip, we thought we were just sort of like Hugo would start talking to us about the highway in 1955, and we'd be sitting there and he'd be talking about the potholes and the gravel and the flat tires, and we'd be just like, we're not worthy. And then we got this section of the highway and got to feel real Alaska highway hell. I'm just going to keep going. And so we got through the 3 sections with pilot vehicles, and then we got into a real area that was finally paved again. And quite honestly, I think we were better on the pilot vehicle section because the paved area, yeah. So if you could just picture, you've ever driven on a highway with truck ruts?
yeah,
So anybody who's driven on a highway with truck ruts, you just know how you'll get stuck in those lanes. I had a Corvair that had weird front end issues, and if I hit truck ruts on a highway, I would just all of a sudden end up 1 lane over.
Oh,
It just the steering wheel would rip itself out of your hands, and you'd be 1 lane over.
that's impressive.
It was terrifying too. The first time I did it, I'm like, "What? I was
Your
not in
vehicle
this
became
lane."
sentient.
Yes, it would just get out of them. So this is like the ultimate truck ruts from hell.
Oh, wow.
So you're literally, I guess the best description I could think of was imagine a stormy ocean with truck ruts that had frozen.
Oh.
And that's what you're driving on. You're driving on these completely unpredictable waves that are all these frost heaves with your deep truck ruts. And you're being thrown up and down, rocked back and forth, rocked side to side for hours. And then in our case, we were for this section towing the World War II Jeep with with Junior, the black Jeep. And so while you're getting thrown and rocked and everything like that, you've got the World War II Jeep throwing itself back and forth on the trailer hitch. And that little bit of play that you get in those receiver trailer hitches, yanking and shoving as you're going along. That wasn't fun. And as I said, that went on for hours. Is everything okay?
It's just gross.
Oh, okay. We do not need to describe to the public the
cats being cats.
yeah, cats being cats.
No, it's a little different.
Oh, okay. Well,
It wasn't a hairball, I'll say that.
oh, okay. I'm going to leave it, or do I need to pause this and go deal with something?
I already took care of it.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So we're bashing along on this, and we start coming up. There is a really nice camping place that I'd seen on my phone one night called Discovery Yukon Lodge, and we'd gotten so used to actually when we're just trying to get to the Alaska Highway, not planning where we were staying, that when we started a lot of mornings, we really wouldn't have a clue where we were ending up. And so so in this case, I was like, I'm not sure where we're stopping, but there's this really nice campground coming up. And they've got World War II vehicles left over from the Alaska Highway, and they're right on a bend in the river. And the pictures were so pretty. And I'm seeing signs for it now. And maybe this hell is going to end, and we could just pull in there and set up campfires and give up for the night.
Ha ha.
And then we drove by it.
Oh,
That's so funny.
What? Okay, I
Never
don't.
mind. Never
No.
mind.
I missed something entirely.
Sarcastic laughter.
All right. So, yeah, we drove past that and continued for another 30 miles of rocking and jarring and bouncing and stuff like that to the wonderful town of Beaver Creek. Now, Beaver Creek's okay. There's a nice visitor
Okay.
center. Marty made friends with a crow that was hanging out on the open door. The campground had this sort of 1920s-ish looking gas station, even though that wouldn't have existed. There was nothing there in 1920. And
it
there
was
was,
an import.
what's that?
It was an import.
Yeah,
They built it new. They were going for a retro look.
yeah. So in 1945, when they built it, they were like, we're going retro 20 years here. And the hotel crew went and stayed at the hotel, which apparently later on they regretted, and there were several who were just like, we should have just camped with you. So
Oh?
yeah, that the hotel sort of like as we lowered our standards on campgrounds for a period of time when we were heading west, the hotel lodges on the Alaska Highway tended to get worse and worse. And if I have a chance at some point, I'll get different people from the trip on for interviews. And it would be great if I could get Russ on to just, I think Russ had some good descriptions of some of the hotels. This last one was, I believe, the one that was definitively not good. And you're not even getting, it's not a hotel, it's not an Airbnb.
Right.
You're on the Alaska Highway.
Motel. If
It-
that.
Yeah, it's, I mean, you might end up at a place with 2 inch by 2 inches, with 2x2s with Luan over them as your separating walls. So that's what we're dealing with.
Shelter.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't want to be in that shelter though, because it's safer outside where there's things that'll,
Bears.
This is
yeah,
fair. This is
bears,
fair. Bears are cuddly.
wolves,
Bounding baby black
noisy
bears.
things in the woods. We did see bears.
Bouncing beyond.
Okay, I'm going to keep going. Um, so we were looking at the campground, and it was dust. It was just dust. It was sand and dust. There were no plants. It was the epitome of sadness in a campground. It made the first campground we found in Plentywood, Montana, look like a veritable oasis. And we're looking around the place just going, this is sad and gross as the dust is blowing by us. And Bill Reese and I decided, we're going to go and look at the bathroom facility. And if the bathroom facility is functional and has good showers, then we'll bucket up and we'll stay here because we can hang out with our hotel group friends and get a shower. So we headed over to the rather decrepit-looking bathrooms, and Bill goes in, and I go in like 2 feet behind him, and he steps through one door and steps into the second door, and then just immediately does a 180 and just coming straight at me, going, "No, no, 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 no," and I got a whiff.
Oh.
And we rocketed out the door, and Bill's just going, no, 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 no. I'm like, okay, that's a decision maker. The campground is a barren wasteland of sadness, and the bathroom is so bad that we don't want to go in it. That's worse than that was probably the worst bathroom I think we'd encountered, period. So at that point, we're beaten to death. I mean, this has been a long drive. If you guys heard the last episode, we started this drive in the last episode. And we're heading for an even longer one of these the next day. So we are worn out, and we're looking at, do we go back to Discovery Yukon Lodge, which is on a bend in the river and green, and I think has a little diner and antique military vehicles and trees.
A slice of heaven,
Trees.
if one would.
Yes, a beautiful slice of heaven. But to get there, you have to drive over that road. And we sat there thinking about it. Yeah, that was a new and exciting cat noise. We sat there thinking about it, and we're just like, we don't want to drive this. So I think it was Joe started doing some research with what limited cell coverage we had, and found that it looked like somewhere on the Alaska side we could find a campground, hopefully that evening. And we were also just accepting of we would rather sleep underneath our Jeeps than stay at this campground. So when we were supposed to be done driving, we then make the decision to keep on going. Because why the hell not? So we head out from Beaver Creek, mile 1,202 of the Alaska Highway. I don't know what mile this was for like Joe and I at this point, because remember, we'd been driving since Maryland. And we headed over. We got through the Canadian border, and then there's essentially this weird zone. I'm just going to call it the demilitarized zone. There is this zone that's a mile or two or more. I think it might be more than a couple miles between the Canadian border crossing and the American one. And in that lengthy zone, nobody maintains the road. So you have this beaten, cracked road with beautiful expanses of wilderness and swamps on either side, and old telegraph poles from, I think, when they built the Alaska Highway, still running alongside the roads with all of their insulators on them and everything. Why are all the insulators out there? Well, because we're probably at that point, mile 1220 of the Alaska Highway, and nobody's going to go out there to steal antique glass insulators off of things. And so we're going along there, and I think
You
it
missed
was...
an opportunity then.
I what?
You missed an opportunity.
Yeah.
Also, who's going to arrest you right there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, nobody's going to arrest us right there. We did find in the middle of that zone there's a nice little. We found the "Welcome to Alaska" sign, and I think there was like some sort of plinth dividing Canada and Alaska. So we all had a little bit of argument over which country we were in, and bouncing back and forth and banning each other from the other country and stuff like that. Got unhitched the World War II Jeep and got a good photo of all the weary travelers in front of the "Welcome to Alaska" sign.
Nice.
I don't think. Yeah, I think it was after this. We made it to the American side, where we met the welcome cat, because
Welcome cat?
yes,
Welcome cat.
yes, there was a very floofy orange welcome cat. So you made it through the border check-in. I don't remember anything about it really, other than the guy was very friendly. And it's neat because they have a little village there, because they're so far from anything. They actually have their own little village of a few houses and stuff
Cool.
for the people working it, because it's not really commutable. And as we got through and lined up our Jeeps, we pulled through, the orange welcome cat came out and just made a point of going up and greeting absolutely everybody.
Oh,
And
that's wonderful.
yeah, he was like Koth's size and floofiness, but orange.
Good.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Cat.
met the welcome cat and continued along our way. And it was, I think it was at around this point that Bill started waving and shouting, and finally pulled over his Jeep and was standing there shouting. And we realized what he was shouting was moose.
Moose.
Because the only thing we hadn't seen at this point was moose. So we pull over. So we.
I like moose.
I don't think we even actually pulled over. I think there was just nobody out where we were, so we just stopped. And you're looking out across the swampland, and there is a big mama moose with her two calves.
Oh.
One of them was and you could tell they were the two different children. The one who listens and does what mom says, and then ADHD ping pong ball.
You mean shy?
Yes, because Mama has, from the distance, noted our existence. She has looked at us. She has stared at us, and she is nuzzling the calves up into the woods. And one of them looks around and heads up into the woods. The other one takes a couple steps and then runs back into the water, and then runs up and over the tall grasses, then runs in a circle. And you can see her and sense the frustration as she stares at the one just dutifully heading up the path into the woods. She stares at that one. She looks over across the swamp at us, then looks at the other one that's just running all over the place, then looks at the one going up into the woods, stares at us again, and finally, we just watched this whole thing, and finally she gets ADHD ping pong baby moose to head up into the woods with the first one. And by the way, if you didn't know it, a common term for a moose is swamp donkeys.
Oh,
I quite love swamp
Great
donkeys.
name.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome because they're often just out wandering around the swamps. So, got to see our moose. That was freaking awesome. That was probably like between Welcome Cat and the moose. Those are probably the two real highlights. That and the Welcome to Alaska sign, because we're just like, hey, we're here. We've been driving for this for like
yay!
days. Although I'm realizing we drove for 28 days, so this means at that point I was probably only 14 days in of driving. Just a little bit, maybe 15 days. So we kept going, and we found, as we've been loving names of places, weren't you rating names of towns or something in the last episode?
Yes, they were.
Yeah, that's why I
Yeah,
had to make
okay.
commentary about Sheep Mountain.
So there's a couple of this lake in Alaska, so you have to find the right one. But we found Deadman Lake.
Ooh.
Solid.
Yeah, that was an appropriate sort of, I think, end for the day there. Was we found Deadman Lake, which has an awesome campground and a beautiful lake, and I have yet to discover why it's called Deadman Lake, other than the assumption of somebody died there. But
Once again, are you sure you want to know why it's called Deadman Lake? Do you
I
wanna
have
know
like a
the ending?
library of Alaska stuff just because of this sort of thing. So yeah, I would love to know.
Okay, fair enough. But you can't unknow it. Just remember that. You can't unknow it.
I don't think this will be bad as the first-person accounts I found of the Russians sweeping into Eastern Europe. So, since nothing reaches
okay.
that level of nightmare that lives in my head, by the way, don't look up any of that which I just said, because you don't want that in your head. I think I can live with whatever happened at Deadman Lake.
Fair enough.
With the history of Alaska, I know it's still going to be much better than that. Yeah, we found Deadman Lake,
Nicole
and
looks concerned.
yeah, just
I usually am.
just wipe it from your head. It's easier. It's better. There's some things there's sometimes I realize I'm not allowed to talk to humans because of things that pop in my head. I was explaining that to one of the history teachers last week about when when the Russians went into Chernobyl, and then I'm like showing excitedly telling one of the history teachers about, hey, listen to these messages that my friends are decoding, and this, and I'm playing them for him, and he's just sitting there going paler, going, I was better and happier without ever having known this. And I'm like, I'm not allowed to talk to humans.
That was a fun night of sitting on the couch and just being like, what the fuck?
Yeah, we got to talk with two people that will remain unnamed that filled us in with massive amounts of information.
That was insane.
Yes. Yeah, and I realized I just can't say more because then somebody might get in trouble.
No.
All right, so we pull into Deadman Lake, and I don't know why. We drove around looking at spots, but when we first pulled in, there were 4 campsites lined up with a row of parking spots, and there were 4 of us Jeeps. So it was perfect. It was like, I know we drove around. We drove around trying to find a camp host, which was a nice older lady who lived there in a vintage Airstream trailer.
That's cute.
And yeah, she told us to take those spots, and it was like somebody had just pre-reserved for us.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. We got settled in. Everybody made like a basic dinner. We took Mortimer out for a ride, and kept finding signs that we were ending up on different tribal property. And I'm like, I don't want to die. So I'm go down one dirt road and go, oh, we're on tribal property again. This is where we get disappeared. I'm going back. And we started developing a plan for the following day, which was we knew the following day was going to be The Alaska Highway officially ends at a town called Delta Junction. And then from Delta Junction to Fairbanks, it's actually, I've got it somewhere in my notes here, the Richardson or something like that highway. And so my goal was with all of Mortimer's, the World War II Jeep's different issues on the trip, I was like, I'm going to drive at least the last official length of the Alaska Highway in this damn World War II Jeep, somehow or other. It's going to happen. So we're running him around that evening, just trying to test him out, get ourselves to sleep, have a really nice sleep. Honestly, it was like perfect camping weather. And you hear about the mosquitoes in Alaska. This was like a down year for mosquitoes, so we encountered like virtually no mosquitoes on this trip.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. We had what's that thing that I use out on the deck?
Oh. Thermocell?
Yeah, Thermacell. We did have Thermacells with us, which were helpful for the tiny amount of mosquitoes that there were. But yeah, it was like a 5-year down cycle on the state bird. So we got up the following morning, and Kevin was cooking up a huge eggs and bacon breakfast, and had made friends with. If you remember our character list, we have Jim and Kevin driving in Jim's CJ2A that he's had since college. Kevin feeds Jim because Jim gets out of sorts if the food does not happen at certain times.
Oh.
Yes. And watching them, they'd been friends since forever. So essentially, if you've seen the movie Grumpy Old Men, this was what we were doing with the entire trip.
Nice.
They were absolutely freaking hilarious. I mean, Jim would be ranting about something, and Kevin would just be like placating him and then find some food to give him or something like that. So Kevin's making a great breakfast. He's made friends with a squirrel at that point.
Oh, hell
Yeah, we got to know we got to know the red squirrels pretty well up in Alaska and the Yukon. And this squirrel, as Kevin had stopped paying attention to his squirrel friend and was continuing to make bacon for the rest of us, the squirrel got impatient and found the bag of peanuts.
Okay.
And then is pulling it around on the table and then staring at me like, dude, they came out of here. I know they came out. I don't know how they come out, though. And he keeps fussing with the bag of peanuts and finally gives up and sits chittering up in a tree, glaring at us for a little bit because he couldn't get his peanuts out.
You know what that reminds me of?
What's that?
Matilda stealing my jelly beans yesterday.
Yeah, tell that. Was it multiple or just one?
I'm surprised she didn't go for the second one. I was working on a project, and in the little box, I had 2 jelly beans because they were the flavor that I didn't like, and I forgot to just take them out of my working container. I got Matilda with me. I see her dive into my container. I'm like, "What are you doing?" And then there's one less green jelly bean, and I'm hearing chittery, snacky noises. It's a very happy rat. I'm glad she liked the jelly beans. I did not like those jelly beans.
We were sort of thinking, should we take it away? We're like, no, it's just a very happy rat, and it's the one jelly bean she's going to get in her life. So we'll just let it happen.
It's just mostly sugar.
And that's the thing.
She'll survive. She'll survive.
Yeah. No, I mean, why deny such a sweet little critter the pleasures of life and jelly beans?
The thing is, that would be like us eating a watermelon-sized jelly bean. Is the only problem?
I mean, it wasn't that big.
Rat this big, jelly bean that big.
It fit in her little
Watermelon.
hands so perfectly.
Okay, maybe cantaloupe-sized jelly bean.
The point is, you can't keep doing it because where are you going to find tiny insulin needles?
Now I've got Wilford Brimley diabetes.
Thanks.
All right, moving on.
I'm going to be paranoid to get my rat diabetes.
I think she's
I
fine.
love her
That's
one
okay.
jelly bean.
One jelly,
Not one. A jelly bean a week would be different.
one jelly bean does not constitute diabetes.
I did have this one camper or counselor in training at a camp out one time who found the sugar cubes in the kitchen and spent the entire night eating boxes of sugar cubes.
How?
Why?
Well, it was interesting because she was just peeing nonstop the following day and other issues. I was like, you have temporarily thrown your entire system out of whack by eating 1,000 sugar cubes. I think she went through 3 boxes of sugar cubes.
Why?
I mean,
Because
there's
she was
one.
14-year-old with sugar.
So
Oh, I missed the 14-year-old
Yeah,
part.
counselor in training. They're usually like 14,
Oh.
15.
once I ate 10 warheads at
Okay.
once because a pretty Five Below cleric dared me to. Sometimes we do dumb things as small teenagers.
Yes, yeah, that's why
This is if it's a teenager, okay,
I
that makes
emphasized
more sense.
14. All right, so we had breakfast. We had Angry Squirrel. And then we...
Did the squirrel have a name?
Nope, just Angry Squirrel. Never,
Okay,
never saw
Angry
him
Squirrel.
again. Never actually even
Opposite
saw
of
that
Scary
campground
Squirrel.
again.
You named it? You didn't name it?
No, no name.
Okay.
Bob? Is that better? No. Trevor.
It's okay.
He's
Trevor
no,
has more effort put into it.
yes, Trevor the Angry
Trevor.
Squirrel. Trevor, we salute you, even though you're probably not alive anymore, because
Probably not.
We can still salute
this was
him.
9 years ago.
In memory of
In memory of Trevor.
Trevor.
All right. So we headed
Moving.
out. We had a big surprise. We needed to fuel up. And we headed out before everybody else because we realized that we were going to be sort of plotting, planning, and trying to figure out how to get Mortimer on this last section of highway. And there's around the corner, there was a trading post. It's really cool running into actual trading posts. And there was, I think, a tribal village there, too. It was an area called Northway Junction. We walk into the trading post, and what I really just wanted was coffee. And there's the fishing gear, and there's all sorts of stuff. There's a sort of empty side of the trading post. There's a really nice young fellow at the counter, and I asked him about coffee. And he said, his just eyes get huge, and he says, "You want coffee?" And my ex and I were just like, "Yes." He says, "I can make you any coffee you want." And I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Go around the other side of the counter." And we go around the other side of the counter, and it's just all of the flavorings, all of the mixings for every type
Wow.
of special fancy coffee, because he had worked at a Starbucks in Fairbanks or somewhere else, and had decided after doing that for a year or two that he wanted to bring, and this is literally his words, he wanted to bring the coffee flavor back to his tribe.
Oh, that is
So he had come
that
back
is so sweet.
to work at the trading post and have this and have amazing coffee for people in the last place that you possibly expected it. So I'm pretty sure I had a caramel macchiato. I don't.
Sounds like you would.
Yeah, I don't remember what she had. And then we packed up and hit the road again, still towing Mortimer at this point. And we passed a gorgeous. There was one Alaska Highway Lodge that was. It was all cabins. It was a massive main cabin. There was a massive workshop cabin that was the size of this barn. And it looked like it had been. I don't know if it was for sale, but it was definitely closed. I think we were all just dreaming about, oh, that'd be so cool to just move in there and start a business from there. So, did you have a question or?
Just gesturing to our version of that.
Yeah, except that this was in Alaska and
I'm
at a major intersection.
sorry, I can't make everything perfect.
Alaska. So we continued up to the town of Tok. And
I like that.
Yep, Tok. T-O-K. Tok.
Nice and simple. I like that.
And we discovered the Three Bear Trading Post, which is one of the main things in the center of Tok.
That's
And
also a
beautiful,
great name.
yeah, beautiful trading post. And I got in a conversation because I was trying to figure out at this point, where do I unhitch Mortimer and start him driving? And I said I was talking to the manager of the trading post, and I said, I really want to run the last 100 miles in this battered World War II Jeep that really doesn't want to be driving right now. And he says, just put in at Dot Lake. That'll give you about 100 miles until you reach Delta Junction, which is the end of the highway. And for some reason or other, I got the gist from him that was going to be downhill. So once again, some reason or other, I got the gist from him that was going to be downhill. And I was like, well, this is great for the World War II Jeep that is having constant overheating issues and spluing oil all over the highway, so that its oil pressure is rapidly dropping on a regular basis. This downhill, 100 miles of downhill, perfect. Absolutely perfect. So the rest of the gang catches
it.
it.
Better it's up on the map.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah,
point.
he does. He has a point.
The guy's probably way back.
So What's that?
Better gas mods on the way home.
It's a little easier.
So, with that complete misunderstanding, I'm trying to check my notes right here, see if I missed anything. We head out. At that point, the whole gang is together at the Three Bears Trading Post. So the camping crew has caught up with us, and the entire hotel crew has done their Alaska crossing and has caught up with us as well. And they're all hanging out, and we figure we're going to take a head start because Mortimer's going to be going slower than all the rest of them. So we head out. I think they probably headed out a half hour or 45 minutes after us. We get to Dot Lake. There's an old church built on the Alaska Highway there, and we unloaded there, checked things over, and then we just started going. And of course, it was not downhill.
Of course not.
This was 100 miles of uphill. Many of those miles virtually straight for tens and tens and tens of miles. So somewhere, if I ever find it again, there is a video of me doing things like, and Mortimer's alignment, despite everything else, Mortimer's alignment's fine. So I'm paddling, I'm like waving my arms like I'm flying. There was a period where I just did swimming for a bit, and my ex just got like endless video of me doing these different things. There's the whole sort of like moving back and forth, like maybe it'll make me go faster. I think he did maybe like up this big hill, maybe like 30 miles per hour. I think I might have topped at 40 on occasion. And his overheating issue that had been killing us, I'm watching at one point as I'm getting along, and he's creeping. He's like 180, 190, and usually by the time he would hit 200, and then it would just spike all the way up and kill everything, and you had to pull over. Some point, I'll get into us discovering the actual problem 2 years later. But so he kept going 190, hits 200, and I'm like, shit, we're done. He's just going to spike at this point. And then he sat at 200, even though at that point I think I was up to 40 miles per hour uphill. And then he dropped to 190, and then he dropped to 180. It was like the hand of God came down and just went, little Jeep, you are making it to the end of the highway.
Show it shall be.
And so we just kept going, and he kept his oil pressure, so somehow or other he didn't splooge out as much oil as he normally did. And as we got close to Delta Junction, I think I finally pulled over maybe like 2 miles from Delta Junction just to top off the oil. And at that point, we could see the rest of the crew coming up in the distance. So I got back in, drove into Delta Junction. They had no knowledge that we were coming. This wasn't any place we'd done any organizing with. So there's a museum there called the Sullivan Roadhouse Museum. And the curator was bopping his way across the parking lot when when my self-driving a 1942 Jeep pulls into the parking lot, which was the last thing he was expecting. And he's bopping along, heading over to the visitor center, just stops and stares at me. And then the rest of the Jeeps start pulling in behind me and lining up. And then his eyes are just getting bigger. And he walks up to me and goes, Are you going to be here for a little bit? Yeah, we're going to be here for a little bit. Okay, can I get my camera? Yes, of course you can get your camera. Go get your camera. So we got pulled in there. We got our official, they have this great, they have a nice visitor center. And then they also have these giant freaking 10-foot tall mosquitoes made out of metal. So, of course,
God.
we all got the photographs of being skewered by the giant metal mosquitoes.
As one would.
Yeah, as one would.
Way better than just the giant beach chairs.
Yeah. We went over, we got pictures at the Sullivan Roadhouse. They had a bunch of vehicles left over from the construction of the Alaska Highway there. We did run into one of the locals who walked over and found out that there was a trading post that we were going to pass on the way to Fairbanks. We didn't stop in there on the way up, but we did stop on the way back, because he said, the one fellow said to me, he says, you need to take that Jeep and you need to stop at the trading post and see his brother. And sure enough, this little trading post had a 1942 Slack Girl Jeep sitting in front of it.
Slack girl did, wow.
Yeah, and the thing they did say was like, they said, don't go in and just don't ask the owner about it. because everybody drives by and then they go in and they ask the trading post owner if the Jeep's for sale, and he's really tired of it. I was like, no, I just need to get a photograph with it.
Mhm.
So we wandered around there for a little bit. Hugo came up to me, and this was really cool. I've probably mentioned that his sort of like he'd come up really close to you and start talking, and he had this really gruff, gravelly voice, and he comes up to me. He says, "Merlin," he says, "Jeep they gave us is very nice, really too comfortable, not really Jeep. I want to ride into Fairbanks in Mortimer." So I've got like this legend who drove from freaking Brazil to Alaska in '55 in a Jeep. And he wants to make sure he wants to make sure that he does the last run of the Alaska Highway riding in my 1942 Jeep. And I found out he'd been doing this along the way, asking different people if he could get out of the comfortable Jeep and ride in real Jeeps. So I think he'd been in Rob's Jeep the day before. Yeah, which is just
Really significant. I really love that.
oh my God, it was just like that was such a ridiculous honor.
Oh, I can imagine for you.
Especially once again with the fact that we really didn't know who he was prior to the trip, that we just find out that this guy is this just epic legend that nobody's heard of. So we agreed that we would drive from there to North Pole, Alaska, which I think we briefly discussed earlier in an earlier episode.
Oh, yay! A town of nothing except a whole lot of mail every December.
Yeah, I think there was like there was a big shopping there was a big Christmas themed shopping place, and then I believe there was sort of a
Santa's
suburb there.
Workshop?
Probably.
Was it named Santa's Workshop?
I'd have to go and look at the photos. In fact, we give a second.
Oh,
I might have a photo in the book, and I can check.
Slight flaw in our playing though, because apparently no one goes as a tourist to Alaska in the winter.
Okay, I just have the picture of Santa, but I know there was like a Christmas store or something, because I know Marty went in the store for a little bit. So we went up there. It was cool as we pulled in, and I'm unhitching Mortimer, and this family comes out of the store, and I hear the mother saying to her kids, he's probably going to say no as they walk towards the World War II Jeep. And of course, they're heading straight for the last guy who's going to say no.
aw.
So they come up to I heard that, and she comes up to the Jeep, and one of the little boys wanted to ask if he could sit in it. And I'm like, of course you can sit in it. So I got them in. We got some photos with them. And then I told them that we would be at the Fountainhead Auto Museum in Fairbanks the following morning for a big meet and greet. And I told them to come by. I said they should come by that and see even more of the Jeeps, because we were a little bit split up at that point. So said goodbye to them, got Hugo loaded up, and then we headed out. And so I'm driving, Hugo's in the passenger seat. For those who haven't heard me mention it in a prior episode, I'm partially blind and very deaf on my right side. And I have this amazing human being in my passenger seat telling me stories. So I have to keep turning so I can sort of see him a little bit, because I read lips for a lot of what I hear, and at least pick up some of the stories that he's telling. And my ex was driving along behind us in Junior, the black Jeep, taking footage, and she said you could tell that you're trying to hold on to every word that Hugo says while Mortimer is weaving back and forth as you're trying to look at Hugo, listen, and then not die as the traffic lights change, because that's where I think it's the Richardson Highway. That's where that section of the highway just becomes like normal, what we're used to type world. Let's see. Yes, I'm right. Richardson Highway. So we headed to Fairbanks. There had been some mix-up. We head to one hotel and then find out we're at a different one hotel. As we got the Jeeps lined up, as we got settled in, anybody here seen Crocodile Dundee?
Yes.
Yes. So, love the movie. It was a very Crocodile Dundee moment, walking into this very civilized hotel in Fairbanks. And for those who don't know Crocodile Dundee, how would you describe Crocodile Dundee? Basically,
Like, I don't know how to describe it.
like an Australian hunter, outback fellow dropped into New York City.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's probably like the best way to put it. So we're got all these people who have come in from like different cruises and different tours and stuff like that. And they're all very clean. And we're walking in unshaven, unshowered, covered in mud and road dirt and whatever else. Probably don't smell fantastic. And we've just got these people, we've got Jeeps lined up outside the main doors, and we've just got people staring at us like we've come in from another planet. And I'm sitting there going, this is Alaska. This should not be that weird. I think we were in the hotel for 10 minutes before my ex was going, I just want to go back to the woods where it's safe and the bears might eat us because that's better than this. And I'm sitting there going, I don't remember the last time I had it. Okay, I had a shower in Whitehorse. I just want a shower and a bed. And then I think I found a liquor store and found a bottle of rum. And so it's just like, okay, we're staying here because we want a shower. So that night becomes the Great Arctic Circle Adventure. And what happened was prior to the trip, I'd been doing a lot of research, and there's something called the Prudhoe Hall Road, which goes north from Fairbanks to, might be the Bering Sea. And it's this gravel oil road specifically just there to service the oil facilities farther north. And I think I'd read a blog of a guy who had gone to Florida. He'd bought on eBay a Model A truck and driven from Florida all the way up the Prudhoe Hall Road past the Arctic Circle.
Holy cow. And a Model
Wow.
A?
In a Model A
Insane.
that he bought off of eBay. And the only problem I think he had the entire trip was an electrical issue on the Prudhoe Hall Road. So we're staying at, what was it? I'm trying to find the name of the restaurant. Fountainhead. I put the I think it was like Big Daddy Barbecue or something like that, where we drove our Jeeps over and we had like tables reserved for everybody to go in there and have dinner.
Nice.
And so we're in there having dinner, and Joe has been talking to somebody at the hotel, and he comes in and says, it's only 3 hours to the Arctic Circle. We just have to go up the Prudhoe Hall Road, and 3 hours up, there's an Arctic Circle sign. Who's going to the Arctic Circle? And we're sitting there going, I'm sitting there going, I have a hotel room. And the other thing is, we're supposed to be at this really prestigious auto museum the following morning. I mean, this isn't some guy's shed with some antique cars in it. This is a high-end, gorgeous museum that you should look them up online if you're into antique cars, like early cars, because they have beautiful videos and everything like that, called the Fountainhead. And so I'm sort of excited about that. And I've told this family that we're going to be there with the Jeeps. And the proposal is at 2 a.m. that everybody goes back to the hotel, gets a couple hours sleep. It's not like we're worn out at all. And then at 2 a.m, everybody gets out in the parking lot, gets in their Jeeps, and drives 3 hours to the Arctic Circle, because it'll only take 3 hours, gets a photograph at the Arctic Circle sign, and turns around and comes back, because 3 hours up, that'll be 5 a.m, so half hour standing there, 5:30, 8:30 in the morning, they'll be back, they can get a half-hour nap and be over at the museum in time. And I'm sitting there just going, no. But it's only 3 hours, and I'm sitting there just going, because I had a couple people ask me, and I'm like, it's the Prudhoe Hall Road. This is a gravel, dirt, mud, oil morass. This is not going to take 3 hours. Whoever said to you that believes in, I don't know, fairies and unicorns and dragons or something like that. Yes, you can stare at me all you want. Were you the person at the counter?
Or they have a rally car.
Or they have a rally car. There we go.
They had a
And
Subaru.
they're not thinking
They
of
have a
it. Yeah.
Subaru rally car, and they can make it in 3 hours.
Yeah, there you go. That's probably it.
I'm just saying, there's another podcast that we quite adore who has issues with the small folk anytime they are mentioned.
Ah, crap. Well, you have to bring that up.
Yes,
Okay.
you started it.
We could have just moved on. We're going to move on. So they make this decision, and Dave, who has organized for everything, I have his quote here because he was insanely diplomatic about the whole thing. I could see Dave being very frustrated looking at the table as more and more of the gang are going, hey, we're going to the Arctic Circle, and he's realizing they will not be at the museum in the morning, like I'm realizing. And they're asking me, there's a couple people asked me, and I'm just like, A, somebody needs to be at the museum in the morning. B, I have a hotel room and a bottle of rum and a shower.
Shower.
And I would really, really like to enjoy all of that and get some real sleep and take another shower and maybe 3 more before I actually leave the building. So they asked Dave, people kept asking, the quote I have in the book here is, people kept asking Dave if he would be angry if they were not at the museum. And Dave very diplomatically responded, quote, I will be disappointed if you don't make it back in time, as it took some time to organize the meet and greet that you already agreed you wanted to attend. But you're all adults, and you can do what you want, and I support your lust for adventure.
I like that.
That's
part.
nice.
I support your lust for adventure.
Yeah, it was absolutely, well, Dave's an author, and it's very well spoken, and as one of the people, is like, it was really him and Bill who came up with the whole initial idea for this trip and doing these things. And so I'm just like, I'm supporting Dave because it's a major reason why we're here right now. And once again, really cool museum. So we head over so we get our sleep, and the gang heads to the Arctic Circle. And we get up in the morning and we find a really neat coffee and muffin shack like around the corner from the hotel. And that was great. And we get back to the hotel, and Dave and Ann have bought bagels for all of us who have stayed. So then we have bagels on our Jeep hoods. And then we head over to the Fountainhead. The Fountainhead, they have their own restoration facility in there. They have those little sound conical things, because what they'll do is they'll set up the vehicle with clothing from the time period, music from the time period. We're walking to those little sound bubbles, and you'll hear the music from the time period playing.
Oh, cool.
And I believe everything in the museum runs.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah. So then the Fountainhead, there is a Fountainhead resort that this is, that I think really funds this. But when you look at their videos online, they're regularly just pulling things out from there. And they had 2 of the coolest vehicles in there. One of them, I think was called a Sheldon. It was a homemade car made by a guy, and we're talking like made back in the teens or something like that, by a guy who wanted to impress a girl and had never actually seen a car in person, but had read about them and actually came up with something very car-looking that ran. I don't remember if he ended up with the girl or not. Another one of my favorites in there was a 1916 Dodge, which was used as sort of a stagecoach route up there. And so we had fun hanging out with the curator, and the woman and her kids showed up. I gave them rides around the parking lot. The little boys were like just flipping out. I'm just thinking back to the mom walking across the lot going, so he's probably going to say no. And I'm like, we're going to give him rides. And then, but no sign of our crew. And it gets to be like 11, and it's noon, and still no sign of them. And there's only like 5 of us who stayed or something. 1:30 in the afternoon, we're inside and we hear a rumbling. And it's the Arctic Circle crew rolling in. And we walk out there, and I don't know how deep is that? Was that like 2 inches probably where my thumb is? 1.5 inches?
Something like that.
Yeah. So it rained. And that oil, slush, gravel, mud haul road piled up on all the vehicles. So the only vehicle that could actually clearly see where it was going was Bill's vehicle, because he was in front. And everybody else had these Jeeps that were covered in 1.5 to 2 inches of this just disgusting, thick mud slurry. and they were reaching out their windshields trying to wipe it off.
Oh, wow.
And then,
Oh.
knowing the distance, Russ and Cowboy took their pickup truck and filled the bed with gas cans and filled all the gas cans. When they rolled into the Fountainhead Museum, every vehicle was on fumes.
Wow.
And they had destroyed a car wash at that point. Because I found the car wash later when I went to rinse off Mortimer, and I was just like, oh my God. It looked like a pterodactyl had taken a shit on the place.
That was
Like just
crazy.
come flying in and it just went right through and stuck.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a visual.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
is that not in the book?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it is. Yeah. And yeah, they mentioned they destroyed that. So Emily and Joe, poor Emily gets out of the Jeep, and that Jeep, yeah, they put doors on it, but they're still on a bikini top. She's got this grin and is moving with like frozen joints and trying to like put together a bagel with arms that are barely moving. She's so cold on the on the muddy hood of their Jeep. Jim was, I think, completely just out of sorts at that point because he hadn't eaten. And Kevin is continuing to try and placate him by, I'm going to find you food. We will find you food. And Jim is just like in semi-rant mode at that point. And I'm like, well, part of it's probably just because you just did this. You started when? 2 a.m? So you've done a almost 12-hour drive. So yeah, apparently it poured on them the entire time. They got some good photos. So they made it to the Arctic Circle. They made it back.
But at what cost?
But the sanity, I think there was a lot of sanity. Everybody still loved each other afterwards.
Impressive.
But oh my God,
Trauma bonding at its finest.
I think I
Truly.
think that was definitively trauma bonding.
We all agreed to do the stupid thing together, and we're all sharing the misery.
Yeah. So, and I'm trying to think. There's a little bit more to Fairbanks, but I could just put that into the next episode because the next episode may be our last one, or if it runs long, then we'll split it up again too. But that'll take us from Fairbanks to Chicken, Alaska, to where there's a giant chicken and a dredge. I like the dredge. To the Crazy Old Lady, to Dawson City, and onwards and backwards, and there's more squirrels involved in there too.
So we'll finish this episode with a pterodactyl and pick up the next one with a giant chicken?
Yes.
Yes.
That sounds great.
Ending with pterodactyl shit and starting with giant chicken. So, anybody have any further comments to add on that one? Josh, it just looks traumatized.
No, I can't top
Oh,
the
it's not
pterodactyl.
Yeah.
All right. So, thank you for listening. I think this one flowed much smoother than the last one, where I was actually like reading notes, and this one I just actually remembered everything
Awesome.
because it's stuck in my head, and I can't get that section of highway out of it. So, thank you for listening. Hopefully, you have not shot off your treadmill into a wall or something like that. If you want to hear another Alaska series, send money, please. About 10K should do it, possibly. I don't know. With the gas prices keep going up, it might be more.
Have you considered bicycling to Alaska Highway?
No.
Good
There was that one
Lord.
guy who was pushing a pram.
I mean, it's going to save on fuel cost.
I would be in much better shape afterwards. I'd lose my job because it would take a year
I'll
and
say
a
you have
half.
to do like a sabbatical from work for
Yeah.
a year.
I won't be able to.
Yeah,
go down that one.
Bill and I have talked about this. A few years ago. What I really, really want to do to take a sabbatical for, and you and I could do this, and we would have fun with it. There is a rally on the Alaska Highway in January,
Oh.
That does sound like fun, actually.
and
No.
you and I would survive this and
Alaska.
have fun with it.
January.
And that's one where it's like
Oh, I've read about this thing though. It's magical.
it's amazing. And
Like Winter Wonderland magical?
yes,
Like Abominable Snowman?
Yes.
Nicole, you and I will stay.
Like the
home
Yeti?
and
Like
warm.
the Yeti Paradise?
this is one of my
Mm,
absolute
very
dreams in life is
nice.
to take a month off during a time of year when I'm supposed to be at work and go and do this. And I'm pretty darn sure the school that I'm at, while I wouldn't be paid for that month, would actually support me going and doing it. So that's like, dream road trip right there.
It's actually a possibility.
Yeah, so that's something we'll look up more on it because, yeah, it just hit me. I don't think you and I have talked about it before,
No, but I've heard about this. I've
But-
heard of this rally.
You and I could do this. We also have the ability to sit in a vehicle together and be quiet for long periods of time
Yep.
and happy.
And you can stare at the snow,
I love snow. And bison wandering around in the snow.
quietly sitting next to one of your best friends in the snow.
It's
As
an
you
ultimate
do.
trip for me. I'm good.
Hey, you know,
I'm good. I have to fix one of the
I
heaters in the
usually
Jeep.
prefer a warm couch and a
No,
and a
I'm
fuzzy dog, but
I'm from the northern breed where this winter when it was when it was below 20, I was at my happiest.
I like to look at snow from the warmth of my house.
I like to stand out there in 10 degrees and just stand there and go, "Oh, the arthritis doesn't hurt at this temperature," and yay. So, all right. So, signing off, Merlin,
Sleepy tea.
Sleepy Tea, Bubby, who doesn't speak but is sitting there next to Nicole.
Nicole,
And Matt.
And you all are absolutely wonderful. Thank you for listening. And yeah, once again, send money so we can do another one of these trips. And we'll talk at you soon.
Toodles.
Good night.
Where's the stop? I lost the mouse.
Make it stop.
Make it
Make it
stop. Oh, here we go. There we go.